Hey guys, King Charles here, today your judge, your jury, your analyst, and today I bring to you this triple psychic team for the Love Cup. It features Psycho Cut Medicham. So I was watching WildSusanBoyle. For those of you who know, he's a self-legend, one of the greatest battlers on the freaking planet, and also one of the most goated coaches on the planet. In my opinion, the greatest coach of all time. So, with WildSusanBoyle, he was using the Psycho Cut Medicham with Psychic and Dynamic Punch. And I was like, oh, this looks like a lot of fun. So, let's try triple psychic. So I was just like, this probably really sucked if you see Electrode, but you know what, let's have some fun. But this team actually is pretty nuts. If you want to practice sack swapping, you're going to see a lot of attempts. Well, not attempts, but like me just trying to set up every sack swap in existence for some odd reason. It's going to be a pretty fun shoutcast, but this is triple psychic. If you're trying to run through your sets quickly, this team will do you pretty well. It features 2 tap mons in Slowking and Slowbro. Reason why they're so good is because they do work against Magcargo, Medicham hates you, and also Alola hates you. So you'll want to see one of those 3, or if not more. So, again, this is a triple psychic shoutcast featuring Medicham with Psycho Cut. Medicham XL will be your safe switch for this one, and then Slowbro and Slowking try to close out with fast move damage. Or if you see here, I try to pull win conditions out of my butt, and it actually happens. And you're going to see a lot of sack attempts. Well, yeah. But before we get started, my mental health tip for the day is going to be healthy conversations. So, when I do marriage, actually, I'm probably going to do marriage family therapy in the future, and technically I'm still doing family therapy because, you work with parents and you work with kids, so then when you work with parents and kids together and you got to have them talk, that's technically family therapy. And so, healthy communication. And what I mean by that is, you will never, ever know when another person is thinking immediately. Healthy communication is getting information from both sides. And when it comes to mental health therapy, the reason why I'm telling you this right now is because when you have that friend you're really pissed off and you have no idea why they're pissed off, well, ask them why. But not just that. It sounds like, well, this is called emphatic responding. It sounds like you're having a hard time. It sounds like you're having a difficult time. It seems like you're being it seems like there's something going on. Or is there anything I can do to help? Or, are you okay? Do you need some time? So emphatic listening is a great way to de-escalate a situation or an argument with your partner, friend, whichever one you state. So when you have 2 family members arguing for each other, it's like, sounds like you guys have a lot of tension with each other. So, can we be civil and see if we could work this out in a calm manner so that you 2 can get your point across within a healthy way so you can feel heard? You know why I'm so good at shoutcasting and so good at shoutcasting battles? Because I have to do this every dang day. So, emphatic listening, emphatic responding, again, healthy communication, empathize with the person you are talking to, and ask them, is there anything you can do to help? And sometimes there's just nothing you can do to help. It's just like psychic Pokemon, you know what I mean? You can't read their minds, so it's like you can't read the future. That being said, make sure you, again, healthy communication, healthy responding, empathize with them, they're probably just having a bad day, or see what you can do to help. If there's nothing you can do, sorry, you're not a psychic, we can't do anything for the future, and let them have some time, and then go forward. But, speaking of healthy communication, I hope to feature some healthy battles for you, a healthy grasp of content with a triple psychic team that's actually a lot of fun to run. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here are the battles. This triple psychic team is actually pretty nuts. Medicham XL is your safe switch, and it's kind of, you would think that Electrode is your worst nightmare, right? We get this Magcargo into our Slowbro, and as you see here, I'm kind of a little confused at what to do. I could switch into Medicham, but Psycho Cut Medicham with Dynamic Punch is actually pretty nuts. As you see here, Dynamic Punch goes off, and it does a ton of damage against this shiny Licky. I'm actually very jealous that you have one of those. I wish I had one. I wish I did, but I don't. And so for that, I'm very jealous. As here, all we're going to do is Psycho Cut down and have a bunch of energy left over for our opponent. Our opponent did an Earthquake. This should be a Body Slam, as seeing as this was way too quick. And as you see, it is a Body Slam. All we're going to do is Dynamic Punch the unholy crap of whatever comes back, and it happens to be a Wigglytuff. And this is actually very dangerous. Here's the reason being. our poor Medicham is going to get charmed down. I try to switch before the timer's up, but it doesn't work. But I'm perfectly fine. Now, kind of the strategy to this team is your opponent. You kind of want your opponent to have a Magcargo because either way it lines up, both Slowbro and Slowking can do really well against Magcargo. As you see, I am just trying to charm, and I'm going to swap, or attempt to swap into Slowbro. As you see here, all I'm going to do is literally just farm down this poor Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff should go down, and then I should have a move to be able to throw at this Magcargo. Now, as you see, Magcargo comes back in, and all I'm doing is trying to fire Psychic at the right interval. And as you see, Psychic does go off. Psychic fires through, and I'm hoping that I can get a Confusion through like I do here. And one Rock Tomb won't actually KO. So as you see here, Rock Tomb goes off. Doesn't KO. I'm frantically trying to Confusion down my opponent, and I do happen to get to one. Now, by the slick, I'm literally a 1 HP in a dream, and I would have been able to take, well, it was GG's because all I had to do is get one Confusion through, 2 charms won't kill in this scenario, and then that's GG's. This was nuts, and I was like, wow, holy crap. So if your opponent tries tap tap, guess what? You just tap harder. It's like the regular Pokemon games, you know, when you just like mash the A button and do more damage. You would think, well, remember I told you Electrode is like your worst nightmare? Guess what? We say swap into Medicham. And here's what sucks. If you lose Medicham, you essentially have no answer to Electrode. So you're like, King of Charmanders, how do you play out of this? I don't know. I don't even remember. But as you see, they eat a Dynamic Punch and they switch out. And now the thing is, like, well, WildSusanBoyle, I told you this is an idea of WildSusanBoyle, the Medicham with Psycho Cut, and I liked it a lot. And I was like, you know what, let me put 2 Slowbros in front of it and see what happens. Triple Psychic, you know, funny gimmick team. And the thing is, Medicham with Psycho Cut is slightly better than Medicham with counter. Slightly. Not a whole lot, but slightly. As you see here, we're going to be able to fire off a second Psychic because Psycho Cut charges so fast. But here's the thing, we do have 2 Slowbros. Well, we have a Bro and we have a King. And now, as you see, I swap out. And you're like, King of Charmanders, what are you going to do later? You're going to find out. As you see, we're going to eat the Psychic and we do resist it, which is great. And here's the problem. They still have a whole Electrode. And Electrode comes out and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Electrode comes in, but I have 2 shields. As you see here, I'll expend a shield and I have to hit a discharge. They're going to hit a discharge. I will just farm down though, because my opponent still has a full Mon in the back. I'm going to expend both shields for Slowbro here, save a move and queue it. Discharge goes off. We're going to shield it. We're going to Confusion down. And now I'm in a very, very rough place. My opponent has a shield. I have a sack. And I still have a whole Slowking. So what are we going to do? And we get a Alola. So here's the thing. King of Charm, I don't actually count. I do it by timing, by feel, and by visuals. As you see here, we are somehow able to get to another Psychic, but unfortunately we don't quite get to it. So, as you see, I'm frantically trying to tap down this Alola and to time the sack. I'm going to have to eat a move. The good thing is, though, Slowking essentially walls Alola because we resist both Psychic and Hydro Pump. So I'm timing everything correctly, and my opponent actually like leaves, and I'm like, oh, well, makes sense. You want to know why? Because all I have to do is literally Confusion down for the W, and I don't even need the sack. And that's GG's. As you see here, despite losing the lead against Electrode, we came out with a W with a triple Psychic team. Now this is what you want to see. This tap tap is very fast, and if you get Ariados, it's gorilla, so you're vibing. Now the thing is, Ariados will be able to do super effective damage with Lunge. However, this is why we got shields. Shields will be able to shield this, and all you're going to do is I swap into my Slowking, and as you see here, my opponent swaps as well, and I'm like, okay, crap. So I'm going to be able to fire Psychic here, and then the idea is I should be able to send in my Slowbro to take on this Clefable, because we're going to lose this, we're going to lose our poor Slowking against this Clefable, because unfortunately Clefable is pretty dang thick. Clefairo's got big wings and a big booty, and the big booty is able to outlast our Slowking. So we're going to send in Slowbro. We're going to farm this thing down. We're going to have to expend a shield though. I do not want to eat a Psychic or a Dazzling Gleam. And I figure, you know, they're probably just a Meteor Mash and Psychic. So I don't shield. And I'm like, whew, okay. I'm glad I was right. Because, wait, no, that makes sense. No, this wasn't a Wigglytuff. Never mind. I called that totally wrong. My idea was, this is definitely a Psychic Meteor Mash Clefable, because that's Clefable's best moveset. as you see here, we're just going to eat the Meteor Mash, water resist steel. Don't ask me why, it's what happens. We're going to be able to farm down and fire off a Psychic at this back row mod, and it's the Ariados. All we're going to do is send in Medicham, and guess what? We're just going to overcharge a little bit here. This is what's nuts about this. Watch what happens. This is pretty crazy, and I'm like, do I have a win condition? I think. And it's an Alomomola. Okay, so this is why it's terrible, and I don't know how the hell I found this win condition. I'm going to fire Dynamic Punch. However, the tricky thing is, I need to actually fire 3. I'm firing this second one so I can run the switch timer. My only win condition is to sack. And guess what? Despite the fact that I don't count, watch what happens. I have a shield, so I'll be able to shield this, but I need to clear the debuff. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to overcharge to Oblivion. As you see here, overcharge, 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 switch! And then as you see here, my opponent is going to be able to take out my Slowbro. However, because Medicham wins CMP, we're going to be able to manipulate this matchup. We're going to be able to Dynamic Punch, and this should take out Lomomola now that we're not debuffed. Takes out Lomomola, I'm frantically tapping on Psychic, and bam, GG's, never give up. Never give up. There is always a win condition. Don't ask me why, but this one was nuts. And as you see with Expert Energy Management, you can find a W, especially with Psycho Cut Medicham. Jeez, holy living crap, that was sweet. I was like, wow, that actually worked. At the time, I didn't believe, but you know what, you always believe. As long as you believe, you might be able to finally come out with a win condition. As you see here, we got Crustle and the Slowbro for Battle 4. This is actually really interesting, because Crustle actually wins this matchup. They have X-Scissor. X-Scissor is super effective against Psychic types. So, how do we win? I don't know. I'm King of Charmander, so we're gonna find out. As you see X-Scissors go through, we will shield, and then we get a Scrafty. Here's what kinda sucks. We got Psycho Cut Medicham, but if our opponent does not shield the Dynamic Punch, it does huge damage. And normally, most Medichams are carrying Power Up Punch. So, as you see here, I gather up a little more energy, I fire up the Dynamic Punch, and I pray that my opponent does not shield. Please think this is a pop. Dynamic Punch goes through and does a huge amount of damage against this Scrafty. And we're vibing so hard right now. I'm like, alright, cool. This is what we wanted. We're gonna fire off a Dynamic Punch. Unfortunately, we're unable to do anything and get to a move. Yeah, caught on CMP. This foul play won't KO, however. We'll be able to get to another Dynamic Punch. My opponent has a choice of letting this go and losing alignment, or we win. We win back switch. They choose to let Scrafty go, however, this is going to give them a little bit of energy to take out whatever we have. As you see, Medicham is in the green. Well, not in the green. I switch into my Slowbro and fire a move. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Remember all those times I'm talking about sacking? Well, now would be the time. Because as you see here, we're going to have to eat this X-Scissor. I want to keep my shield, so we're going to eat the X-Scissor. And I have to send in Slowking. Here's the problem. My opponent still has a whole Mon in the back. We know Scrafty is almost dead. Here's the issue. I have to shield this because X-Scissor does huge damage against Slowking. Unfortunately, I'm not the king of games. I do not want to be sent to the Shadow Realm. Yes, that's a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. For those that watch Yu-Gi-Oh, we can be best friends. And it's a Galarian Slowbro. So, there's only one way to win. I have to sack. The question is, and the problem is, I have no idea. I know I kind of have a feel for it, and as you see here, with literally 1 HP in a dream, I am able to sacrifice my freaking Medicham. I should be able to get to a Psychic, and that's GG's. That was freaking amazing. Extremely calculated. No, I was kind of like, you know what? I think this is it. And then I socked, and then it was like 1 HP in a dream. Boom, Psychic goes through. That's GG's. You can do that naturally. And watch out for my sack swap. Actually, watch out for my turns, guys, because I'm going to show you how I do these things pretty effortlessly. A lot of people will say, I feel like when the sack is going to come. The problem is, if you're anxious or you're panicking when you're doing it, that's not Zen. That's you panicking. You need to be completely free of emotion. And I am not free of emotion on this day, because you know that's an Ariados. And I'm like, yes, I have won. I'm going to vibe. And this is great for me. But, unfortunately, like I mentioned before, Ariados has a great matchup against Slowking. Well, it has a good matchup. Lunge does super effective damage, so we have to try to farm you down. And at the same time, you usually come out of here with not a great amount of attack because you're going to get debuffed to Oblivion thanks to Lunge. As you see, we're frantically trying to tap our opponent down, and it doesn't work. So I'm going to let this go. Lunge is going to do big damage. Doesn't quite take out Slowbro, but we're still in danger. As you see here, yes, we took out our opponent. Yeah, we won switch, but our opponent can now farm. And I'm like, oh my god. So that little like hiccup I had over there, I was like, oh no. So I fire off the Psychic, hopefully grab a shield, and I swap. And just like the last one, this is like a 1 HP in a dream scenario. Now, as you see, my opponent is going to fire a wild charge, and I'm praying that they stand, and they do not stand. So here's the problem, and here's why I should have just let it go. Had I let go and not giving up sack, I probably would have came out with a win condition. However, you're gonna see this is actually a hell of a lot closer than it looks. King of, you're like, damn it, dude, I do lose this battle. However, do not make the same mistakes I did. Do not give up swap, especially when you can punch the stupid thing to death. Actually, you're gonna see just how close it was. And now I'm panicking because here's what happens. That Electrode has a ton of energy. I have a slow king and an almost dead slow bro. And here's another problem. Who's swaying Electrode wins CMP. So I oofed. I done goofed. And I'm like, okay, this is terrible. As you see here, this thing has a bazillion energy. However, you know what? You know what we do in the King Trimasters? We never give up. We don't give up until the fat freaking Chocobo sings. Well, no, that's wrong franchise. Fat Snorlax. And as you see, I make another goated sack swap in an attempt to try to come back with the W. We catch the wild charge. We're one confusion away. And then we still lose the same beat. GG's. I hope you all enjoyed the battles. I wanted to feature this one anyways. I would have won if I never gave up swap, but you know what? I hope y'all enjoyed this sack swap. That was effortless. 2 1 HP to Dream sacks in the same shoutcast. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hopefully this does help you. And GG's. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yes, I do like sacrificing my Pokemon to the Arceus Godlords and saying like, please sacrifice and give me a win condition. I hope some of y'all enjoyed this. I will be doing a I'll be doing a Sack win condition. Wow, did I just say sock? Dang, like that really sucked. Get it? Okay, that really sucked. Okay, anyways, I will be doing a sack swap video for like basically on how I count and do it because there's actually multiple ways I do and multiple avenues. That's why I don't use sound. So some people will put headphones on and then count by sound, but there's ways I do it, but I use a lot of ways at once. And like I said, I'll do a turn counting video or how I count moves, at least, well, subconsciously count moves because I actually flood my subconscious with information when it's going on. So that way I kind of like have the timing naturally down. Like I mentioned, people will tell you I feel when I sack. No, you don't. If you have anxiety or you're anxious, well, anxiety, anxious, same thing. If you're anxious, if you're frustrated or anything of that sort, any sort of emotion, then that is not absolute Zen. That is not feeling. That's you guessing because emotion's getting in your way. If emotion's in the way, then you pray. But if there's no emotion in the way, and you have all this information, then you too can sack like a monster. Like I do. Sacrifice swaps is one of the most advanced moves in the game. To do it as articulate as I have, like I've shown in the shoutcast, is extremely difficult. But watch out for those PvP tutorial videos. I look to put them out more consistently, especially out this season where we have this kind of freebie season. Hopefully y'all have already made rank 10. Or, not rank 10. Rank 20. This whole rank 20/legend thing has really thrown me off. Congrats to those of you that made it. If you haven't made it yet, don't stress out. Just keep battling, keep trying, and you will eventually make rank 20 and get your Gladium pose. Hopefully a Pika Libre that's shiny too. Do me a huge favor, please like and subscribe, and maybe comment for the algorithm. I noticed a lot of you start doing that. I really do appreciate you guys. And if you do comment for the algorithm, I will say I appreciate you in the comments. I look at the comments every day, try to respond to every single one of you. I love you guys, love my community. Do me a favor if you would like and subscribe. Again, like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm. And you can easily subscribe if you're not yet. You see that little box on the right? Put your mouse over it and boom, you can easily subscribe from over there. I really appreciate my subscribers. I love my community. I appreciate you guys. Good luck in your Go Battle League sets. And I will see you guys on the next video.